Welcome to Seltzer Squad, the podcast about staying sober in the city, with your hosts, Kate Sander and Jess Valentine.
Hi, Jess.
Hi, Kate. Happy 100 episodes.
Dude, we made it. Can you even believe it?
Jinx.
We're finishing each other's sentences. I can believe it.
Wow. 100's a lot.
Yeah, we were like different ladies back then.
Completely. Was that like, what, 2 years ago now?
Mm-hmm. It was 2018 in November, I believe, when we started.
Bonkers.
Wild. The world is different. We're different.
We're real different.
Mm-hmm.
Just our sobriety is different.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's crazy.
I think
I might not
I was
even
listening
be sober anymore if I didn't have this podcast.
Totally. I was listening to old episodes, and something that stuck out to me, and it's something that we got feedback on, was we really used to yell the outro like at the top of our lungs, it sounds like. And somebody gave us feedback. When was that? That was a while ago. The feedback was it's so loud it makes me throw my phone across the room, I believe is what it was, like something to that effect. And whoever that person was 100% right.
I think that she was listening and jogging, and then it would scare her. I think that's what it was.
So to everybody that we scared, thanks for hanging in there.
Can you hear this?
Yes.
Can you hear this?
Yeah. Yes.
Get out of here. That is my dog. Get out of here. She's really loud. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't realize that we screamed it, but as soon as she said that to us, we started to whisper it. Do you notice that we like whisper and we're like,
hangover suck.
Hangover suck.
Anyway, so
sorry for we have terrified.
Tell me about how you feel about 100 episodes. What was your favorite episode?
I don't know. I don't have one.
Top 2, 3? Which one sticks out to you the most?
It's one big episode.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think like that. There's none that really, I'm trying to think. Like, I know we definitely had some fun interviews and stuff. Millie Gooch was really fun to interview, but honestly, there's so many and everyone brought something else to the table. I don't know. It's hard for me to say.
It's really weird also to re-listen to a lot of them because we were in such different spots. It's like an audio diary of everything that's happened in the last 2 years. Like, you don't live in the same place that you lived before. You don't, you have a totally different workspace than you had before. You have a different partner than you had at the beginning. Like, we got to go through all of that with you. It's just so wild. Like, I don't have the same job anymore. It's just like, who the fuck are we? Who do we think we are?
You were all about Gail when we first started.
True.
which is her van.
My camper van. Yeah. I bought a house. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude. Things are different. You're going to be a therapist soon.
I decided that I wanted to be a therapist. Yeah.
I mean, damn, girl. We host meetings now.
I know. What do you think you've learned from doing this in 100 episodes?
I think that I've learned that there's a real lack of sober resources, like people speaking about it, a lack of people talking about it. I've realized that it's so stigmatized still. And I think that every little bit that we do destigmatizes it, even just the tiniest bit. And I've realized that we're part of that, which is interesting.
There are a lot of sober podcasts now, though. In 2 years, a lot has happened. I felt like
there weren't any when we started.
Yeah.
Hence why we started one.
Right.
And if there were, not that there weren't any, but again, they were all like kind of, the ones that I found at the time were very religious or 12-steppy and so on. But I've learned that I never thought that anything I would have to say would ever help anybody. Like, who am I? And apparently shit that we say helps people, which is still weird to me.
I mean, our own episodes help us also. When I go back to listen to things, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Like, there's that one time, our first guest, I believe, was Dr. Kate Thomas. And there was some shit going on. I can't remember where I was, but she was like, "Hey, I remember hearing in a podcast once that you should have an exit strategy."
Mhm.
And so I was like, "Oh, maybe I should take my own advice." So, yeah, I'm just reflecting right now as I'm talking, so I apologize for the dead air, but
Something to me that has
it's
stood
so
out is that it's
crazy.
taught me to be very clear in what I want to say because people are listening. So I don't want to be misconstrued and I also don't want to be exclusive in any way. So that's helped me like express myself, and that's always been really hard for me to do, is to talk about hard things or have hard conversations
Yeah.
and like really speak what I think. And I think what's great about a podcast just in format is like no one's here but you and I, and that helps
Yeah, it's
me be
different.
more open.
Yeah, because when we first started, you were so nervous to record.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like every time we would sit down to record, you'd be like, I'm so nervous.
I was like so afraid of everybody finding it.
Yeah, you were. And like after we would record, you would send text me like, was that okay? Do you think I shouldn't have said that? Should I have him edit this out? Blah, blah, blah. So it's just funny you own it now. And maybe
I guess I'm
wasn't a
just not
thing in the
sorry
past.
anymore for having an opinion.
There's nothing to be sorry
Right.
for, and there's just so much like I used to be embarrassed to admit, not that I was sober, but like that I had a drinking problem and how bad it got, or like the things that I did. I didn't want my family members or whoever to find out. But now it's like, you know what? I'm not in that place anymore. I should be proud of where I've come, where I've, I'm trying to say. And like, it's not like I'm doing those behaviors. If I was still doing those things that was embarrassing and I had apologized for, that's what would be shameful. I shouldn't be ashamed that I'm bettering myself and
Sure.
getting my shit together. And, I don't have to talk about things that I've done or my past, but it helps people. It helps people. I feel like a big thing with being a drunk or getting sober is you feel alone and you feel like everything you do or when you were drunk is the worst, and
you don't want anyone to know, so it's even more lonely.
Yeah, and you're like, I'm a terrible person, I don't want anyone to find this out. But then you hear other people and you're like, oh, okay, I don't feel so shitty about myself. Okay, other people do this too. But if everyone's all quiet about it, you don't realize how common these occurrences are. And I think that the podcast resonates with people, and I wasn't expecting it to.
Yeah.
As much as it is.
Yeah. I think there was a point in this process where we were losing steam, I think both of us individually. And I was sort of worried for a little while. I was like, I don't know. I feel like we could be nearing like maybe walking away at some point. Things were getting harder and harder for us to like align. Our schedules were really crazy. You were moving. Like there was a lot going on. And
it was right when we wanted to have guests and stuff. Yeah. So when we first started, my friend Hambone, he was the one who approached me asking me if I wanted to start a podcast. And, I said no, even though I secretly wanted to do a sobriety podcast, just because I wasn't ready to put that into the world yet. I didn't want to say, yeah, I want to have a sobriety podcast, especially to someone who's not sober. But he asked me again, like a couple days later, he's like, hey, like, again, I'm really trying to get shows on my roster. So if you can think of anything. So I was like, actually, I do have an idea. And he liked the idea. So then I said, I have a friend, Kate. And,
thus
that is
the podcast was born.
Yeah. And then at the time, the three of us were all living the two of us
we were
living
all in Jersey.
And he was in Kearney, which was like not that far, depending on what time of the day. And we would always record at his house. And in the beginning, in the beginning, it was easy. He wanted us to do 15-minute episodes. So we would go to his house and bang out a bunch, like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 a night. But, when you're dealing with 3 different people's schedules, especially like Kate freelances, I work weekends. He worked, I believe, like a 9 to 5. So it was really becoming hard to schedule our recording sessions.
The scheduling for me was like the most painful thing, because I was like, I will literally take the day off at this point, just land on a day. Someone land on a day.
I was starting to want to quit. I mentioned to you quitting. I was like, I don't know. This is just becoming too much.
Yeah. It wasn't
because
fun. All of the logistics were not fun. And so
No.
therefore, when we did get together, we were already annoyed.
yes, exactly. Like I was by this time I lived in Brooklyn
Mhm.
and I was driving like it would take me like 2.5 hours to get out there. And then God knows how long to come home.
Mhm.
And I was just like, this isn't fun for me. And then we wanted to start doing
More
guests
guests.
and stuff.
Mhm.
So we wanted to have guests, and some of them were New York based, and we wanted to do them in person. But I mean, it was
That was a logistical nightmare. I was like,
Yeah.
this will never work.
Yeah, Hambone has a very specific way of how he likes to record, and he has everything at his house. It's not really mobile,
Mhm.
travel friendly.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. So, Kate and I started buying travel stuff and kind of doing stuff on our own, and then sending him stuff to like edit. And it just kind of became a little disconnected.
Mhm.
And, Hambone decided to step back and leave the show. And as much as I love Hambone as a
course.
person, it was a relief.
Yeah, I think for everybody.
Logistically speaking, yeah. You and I had very similar, like our schedules are more similar.
True.
We had same ideas. Like we want to be able to go to somebody and record at their like office or whatever. And we wanted to just sometimes we'll want to do it at 10 p.m. Like
or
whatever.
for more than 15 minutes because we got that feedback a lot.
Yeah, we really wanted to do longer episodes.
We had more to say.
Yeah. But, he was not just producing our show, he was producing like 4 others or something like that. So, the poor guy didn't have time to be editing a weekly show that was
for
like
free,
a half
for
hour
us.
long.
Absolutely. I totally get that.
Yeah. So
that was for me, I think,
yeah.
the turning point in the Seltzer Squad where I was like, we might be losing steam. I'm not sure. And I was really upset. And then I had like a conversation where I was like, I have to let this go. Like, no matter what happens, like if it's the end, it's the end and it will be what it is. And I'm glad we figured out like our new dynamic because you moving that far away with how much equipment it takes to record like a podcast that's of decent quality, it's a lot of work. So I'm glad we figured out like the right equipment for us. And I feel like I can't speak for Hambone, but hopefully, by him sort of stepping away and choosing himself, that it created more space for him. I mean, we wouldn't have we wouldn't have this if it weren't for him. So I'm eternally grateful, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And the other beautiful part of it is that he quit drinking, which is
I know,
so cool.
Which is so cool. And yeah, he's still going strong. We still talk to Hambone, not like all the time, but I don't talk to anybody all the time, to be honest with you. And I mean, look at us. We're doing Zoom. We have to do Zoom anyway because COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that obviously completely grateful for him getting us up on our feet. And then, what happens with everything? Sometimes you grow in different directions or you guys bands break up because they just want different things. And the band kind of broke up, but we're still going. And then for a while, Kate was doing all of the hard work herself. She was producing
that's also when I wanted to quit.
Yep. She was going fucking mental.
I hated you for a minute.
Yeah, I believe it. And then we opened up the merch store because that is what enables us to afford to hire Natalie.
That's how Natalie gets paid, guys. So whoever has bought and paid for merchandise from the Seltzer Squad shop, we love you and we love Natalie even more because she is the saving grace of this pod and she's also the reason why it happens every week.
Yeah. So thank you to Natalie. And if you would like to also thank you to Natalie, go to our store and like buy a shirt or something like actually buy things maybe that aren't shirts because the shirts have been taking a really long time.
Yeah. You know what? If you use code Natalie, you'll get 10% off your order.
Oh, shit. That's awesome. Did you just think about that right now?
Yes.
That's amazing.
So
Code word.
yeah, I mean,
Natalie.
that was a great addition to our team. And I think the beauty of Natalie finding us is that she found us through a listener. So she's
That's amazing.
connected kind of, in the same circle, which is great. And for me, that was
Networking,
the push
man.
that I needed to be like, okay, I can actually be the host of a podcast now. I don't have to be the back end also and
Of
work a job
everything.
and be
The
sober.
editor and
Exactly.
the producer, and still, not drink yourself to death because of all the stress.
Yeah.
So snaps.
Hopefully
to
the quality
Natalie.
has gotten better as well, because I mean, I'm excited now. Like, I feel like we
But-
have hit our flow in 100 episodes. I'm excited to talk to you all the time. And before, I used to come in really dreading like what we were going to do.
Oh
and
my
now
God,
I'm
I
like
know.
stoked every time.
But also, I just want to say, you just said hopefully the quality has gotten better. Also, we're doing Zoom now, so the quality is probably a little.
No, I meant like quality of what
worse?
we have to say too. Because we
Oh.
can take a minute to get our point across a little bit more is what I mean.
Oh. Yeah, because I used to feel like the clock was always ticking because he'd always be in the back being like, wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm on like, I just want a Grammy and the music's playing and I still have like to thank 15 people.
Yeah.
Just casually comparing myself to like Taylor Swift. What the fuck is wrong with me? If you guys are watching this, well, okay, you're listening to this. You can watch it if you go to our website. But Kate is like in front of what is this, a charcuterie board?
Yeah.
I see olives.
my
I see
background.
bread. Yeah, it's worth checking out.
I'm like full Joe Rogan, guys. I'm in a closet. I have a desk set up. I'm like Harry Potter meets Joe Rogan. I'll take a picture and put it on our stories.
Yeah,
getting
I
weird.
was sitting in front of the office background, like the testimonial scenes, but it was annoying me. So I'm just in front of a lamp and a television on the wall and just bare walls that I still have not bought the wallpaper for because I'm lazy.
What do you
Anyway.
think has changed about me in 100 episodes?
Are you fucking kidding me? Everything. Are you kidding me? So much, Kate. You're like night and day. You're still
Really?
the same person, obviously, but I feel like you have less anxiety. I don't know if it feels that way, but it appears that way. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like your life seems not. I don't want to say it was chaotic. It just seems like you had so many balls in the air, and it seems like you're finally starting to like mellow out a little bit. I feel like you just like you've always been ambitious, so it's not that you've become more ambitious, but you've been more driven to like, I don't know, you know what you want and you're going for it, which again, it's not that you didn't do that before, but you're more clear of what you want and it's what you want, not what
I think
other
I should
people's want you
Yeah.
to do. You know what I mean? Like, I think that you have your boundaries. It's like you get a boundary, You're like you're so much better about putting up boundaries. And I think that you probably would have just taken any job when a couple of years ago. And now you're like, no, I don't want that job. I'm going to wait till something more fitting comes along that makes
Good
me
point.
happier,
Thanks,
What'd you
Nance.
say? Nan,
That's a good point. Thanks, Nance.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
a
mean-
lot can change in 2 years. I think that's a major takeaway for me is that I have lived my life sprinting from one thing to the next, like literally running. And that's where the overwhelm comes from and the overworking comes from is because I'm like constantly running from thing to thing to thing, like a fucking whatever those machines are. And it's like this podcast has helped me zoom out, if that makes sense. Like, I'm able to zoom out of my life a little bit and be less concerned with the minutia and more big picture because as a perfectionist, like I was really worried about like every Instagram post that went up and every picture that we posted and like all of that stuff in the beginning felt very important. And now to me, the most important thing is like connecting with the squad and like being in the Facebook group and talking to people and offering support if I have the energy to do it. Like, it's just interesting how things have changed. Like, it felt very
You're
vain.
prioritizing different things now.
It felt like about us in the beginning, and now it feels about other people.
The squad as a whole.
Yes.
No, I totally get that. And that's another reason why I'm so bummed about COVID is just the obvious reasons, but also because we wanted to start doing like
Live
in-person, like
shows.
meet and greets and live shows and just like mingles and stuff. And we can't do that. And it sucks because it happened at like the same time when we're like,
That's true.
let's go out.
Or
and
we
meet
had
the
a gig lined up.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. We literally had a date lined up.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's fine. It'll still be in the future. We're going to start doing random, Zoom meetings, because that's another thing that, this podcast is like my meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Like I talk about I have an outlet in which to talk about my sobriety. That's not an AA meeting. A lot of people don't have that, but
Yes.
I'm sure them listening to us is a sort of form of like a meeting, if you will. However, they're just listening to us. They don't
get the opportunity to talk.
Exactly. Like maybe you guys do have people to talk to. I'm sure there are tons of you also who do not.
Mm-hmm.
So
I feel like that sometimes still, like even when we're not recording, like sometimes I wish, like I've actually reached out to some of our guests are like, I text them now. I actually talked to Tawny yesterday on the phone for like an hour. It's like,
am I like on the phone?
Yeah. Like we have this whole side story I'll tell you about later, but I was at the grocery store and I was like, I'm just gonna call you because I can't type all of this stuff. So we ended up talking
sometimes you
for
just have like a thing to say.
But yeah, I think it's just this having this platform and being able to connect with other people that are sober has widened my network of people. And that just, I don't know, when you take like the whole drinking thing, the whole conversation off the table with someone, it's just easier like to have a friend that they don't have to be sober, but like if the drinking convo is off the table, it's just so much easier. And hopefully we, like with our Zoom get-togethers and everything, can start to provide a space where people get to talk and be heard.
Right. And that's what I was going to say is there's been times that you and I, because what we do is we'll record like 4 at a time or something like that. Because when we have each other, we have each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that can mean sometimes we go a month or even a month and a half, depending on how long we've how many we've recorded without checking in with your sobriety.
We never like to check in with each other because we like to save it for the catch up now. So we we try not to talk to each other in between recording because.
Which I've been better. Like there's been sometimes I've reached out to you because I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I gotta fucking talk. But I don't want to do an AA meeting. It's just not something that is something that I want to do. So having these meetings will be really nice.
But like, can you imagine 100 episodes ago wanting that? That's crazy.
I don't know.
Like, I think for you, especially admitting a few episodes ago that you were looking to, like, that you needed more of a community, I thought was really interesting because you are a little bit more of a lone wolf in that aspect of your recovery. I've always felt is that you're a little bit more.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Like
solo.
I'm like independently sober, I mean.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's fine. And that works for me. But every now and then when you're having like a bad time, it is nice to
just want to talk to your people.
Yeah. Or just hear other people's stories. Like when I would go to AA meetings here and there, I just like the sharing. I was going to say episodes, meetings when you hear people just like share. I'm like, oh, like
that's all I want to hear is people telling their stories.
Because I feel like that's you and me. We're sharers. But now sometimes I want to hear someone else share. So I'm really looking forward to, I don't know how regularly we will be doing meetings, but I'm really excited about it. Am I overwhelmed about it? Of course, because I don't know, I don't know how to organize that, but honestly, it's just going to it'll be fine. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to it because I've been wanting, the only meetings are AA.
Oh, fuck. I feel like I'm going to cry.
Why?
Because I'm just proud of us also. Looking back on it now, I feel like for the first time reaching out to the squad on Instagram for having a bad day. I remember I wrote a post and all these people wrote all this nice stuff. I feel like for the first time, probably ever, if some shit went down, I feel like I actually have a squad of people behind me that are going to show up or via text, via, IG chat, whatever it is, you in real life being it's okay, we have your back. And I think that's been the biggest development for me, that I'm able to rest easy a little bit because I feel supported.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because I never, ever, ever thought that I was going to be a sober, quote unquote, advocate where I don't even know what you call it. Advocate, influencer. We're not influencers, but you know what I'm saying? Spokesperson. I don't know. None of this ever crossed my mind. So it's interesting just to see where my life has taken me, where this podcast has taken me, where our squad has taken me and us. Yeah. It's just like sometimes I'm like, fuck it. I just want to I'm just going to go back to drinking. Not even that I want to get drunk. I'm like, I'm just going to go back to drinking, which I'm not going to. But obviously that's always like when I'm angry or upset.
Mhm.
It's like a fleeting thought. But then it's like, oh my God, but look how much better my life is, And it's all because of this podcast. Like, I would not have guessed that we would be trying to host meetups, host meetings,
Mhm.
Trying to rewrite the fucking script on sobriety as a whole. I'm done. I'm done with this world. I'm with the way it is. I'm done with everything being for the men. This is also a fucking women's issue. I'm tired of women thinking they can't talk about it. I'm tired of it being a shameful fucking thing. And if you want to change, you have to fucking make a change. So Cameron was like, you guys should rewrite.
I love
the
this
big book.
soapbox moment, by the way.
I'm sorry.
You guys need to get the video version.
Oh my, like this. And
Yeah.
I'm just fucking done. And it's nothing, it's not going to fucking change. If I want to see a change, I need to fucking do it myself. And
Mhm.
like I said, Cameron mentioned, you guys should rewrite the big book.
Slow down.
And
we need 100 more episodes.
it's a big book.
It is a big book.
It's a big ass book. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I complain about it to her and she's like, you should rewrite it. And I'm like, oh.
I guess
Well,
we
you have a
kind of
fucking-
are, or at least
have
in
a
our own way.
point.
But yes, I mean, literally also we could
Yeah.
rewrite it.
I don't think that should be the standard basis for getting sober. I don't. And again, I'm not knocking AA, although I kind of am because I fucking hate it. And I feel like here's something. Here's how I changed in 100 episodes. I used to pretend like I didn't care to hate AA. And now I'm going to come out and say it. I don't like it, but I like it. I like that it works for some people. I'm not closed-minded. I'm sorry. I'm not going to live a lie. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not a fan of it, but I know that a lot of people have success with it. And I think that is fucking dope. And that is great.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a lot of issues with it. And I, as you know, have a hard time being quiet when I don't agree with something. So I think that that's another way how I've changed in the past 100 episodes is now I can finally be honest and say I don't like AA as a whole.
And that's on 100 episodes of the Seltzer Squad, everybody. Jess Valentine out.
Out. Mic drop.
I mean, here's to 100 more. That's how I'll end it.
We are here to change the way people look at sobriety. That is my main objective.
I feel like I'm at a rally. I love it.
Woo!
All right.
I got nothing else to say.
Until we
I don't
meet
wanna-
again.
Some people are like, oh, I hate Jess now. So
No.
my bad.
Until we meet
So
again.
happy birthday. Happy 100th birthday.
Happy 100, honey.
We need a cake with 100 candles on it.
True.
Yo, if someone wants to donate a cake to us, we will.
You can send it to Jess's shop and I'll come. And
Yeah, I will
buy
take a
100
photo
candles.
of that. I will put your picture on the internet. I will publicly thank you. I love treats. Going back to us eating better.
All right.
I love you. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
100 to the squad. Thank you for listening. We hope that you guys still like us.
Yeah, squad.
And we
How
hope
do you
to
think
meet you
how have
guys.
you changed in listening to us for 100 episodes?
Let
That's a good
us
question.
know.
You want to bring it
And with
home?
that, yeah, I mean, until we meet again.
Be nice to yourself.
And don't forget,
Hangovers really do
suck.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. Every review helps other listeners find us. Music by Dead Go West. Art by Kate Sander. For show notes and resources, check out seltzersquad.com.